Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Blind Boys Politics. Nicholas Rod and Chris Baker is back with us this morning. Hello, Chris.
Hello.
And we're here for another round of news on this Friday morning. Chris, give us the weather for the weekend, would you?
In Los Angeles, California, it is sunny, 77 with a sunny weekend. In Houston, Texas, it is partly cloudy, 93 with a partly cloudy weekend. And in Chicago, it is raining, 79 with rain this weekend. In New York City, it is partly cloudy, 79 with more partly cloudy through the weekend.
Well, Chris, it's definitely nice to have you back. I will be the first one to say that.
What can I say? I'm a fan favorite.
Yeah, I just recording alone on Sunday. It felt weird. It didn't feel right at all. And
I'm sorry.
Definitely glad to have you back. People won't really know this, but recording alone was an absolute disaster. I don't know how I made it through. I did, but recording alone just literally throws out any flow that we usually have right out the window.
See, I'm just that natural flow.
It
But
just
yeah,
works better this way.
Recording with two people, it's a lot easier.
Yeah, well, recording by yourself, you're talking for however long the episode is, say 20 minutes or so, sometimes more. Talking for that long, just by yourself, just going on and on and on, it becomes a lot.
You get tired of hearing yourself.
You really do. You really do. And then lucky me, I got to edit it afterwards.
Well, you're lucky that I didn't have you do show notes.
True. But, yeah, no,
I had some courtesy in me.
Yeah, it's very kind of you. But we are glad to have you back here. No doubt about that. How have things been going? How are you doing? Are you ready for graduation?
Well, I've already graduated, so yes, I am ready.
At the time of recording, I'm still a couple days away from my graduation, but I'll tell you what, I'm a bit nervous, but I am really excited.
See, my graduation with the size of my school, it usually spans 2 to 3 hours.
Whew.
We were out in 90 minutes because there was someone reserved at the venue that we had it at after us. So they did it real quick and we were out of there. I was like, thank you, God.
Yeah, I don't know how long hours it's going to be. I would say probably about the same length of time, not because we rush like that. And, my school's much smaller than yours. So it just, it'll be relatively short. It'll be nice. Won't drag on for 5 hours.
You get to hear those inspirational speeches.
It'll be nice though, because it'll be in the evening. It'll be at 7:30, and that'll be kind of nice because it'll still be light out, but it won't be direct, harsh sunlight right in your face. And the temperature should actually be really nice that day.
Well, I'm happy for you.
Why, thank you.
Enjoy your graduation, but don't get too used to the celebration because, reality is going to strike the real world.
Oh, yeah. Stepping into the real world, there's definitely, there's no slowing down from here. Truly, there's not. You get that brief period just after graduation where you can be like, okay, take a day or two or whatever to kind of settle in and enjoy yourself. But then, nope, there you go. You're back. The world's back and it's there with a vengeance.
Now you get to pay taxes, Matt.
I get to adult.
Before.
I'm so excited to adult.
I'm sure you are.
What could be more fun?
Getting into the news.
All right, yeah, we have a bunch of news to cover here this morning. And our first topic surrounds the Pentagon. And for the first time ever, Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin said publicly that he is in support of major changes to how the military deals with sexual harassment.
In a statement, Secretary Lloyd Austin said, quote, finally end the scourge of sexual assault and sexual harassment in the military. This would be a change from the long resistance to allow private lawyer investigators to investigate instead of the commanders. For this change to happen, though, there needs to be legislation action taken on Capitol Hill.
Moving right along here to a bit of a big Supreme Court ruling. Brandy Levi didn't make varsity cheer. The teenager expressed her disappointment on social media using profanity. The snap made it back to the junior varsity cheer coach, and she was suspended from the team. Her and her dad sued, and on Wednesday, the Supreme Court ruled in her favor, with the vote being 8-1. This case proves that she is protected by the First Amendment right of freedom of speech.
Justice Stephen Breyer said in a statement, quote, courts must be more skeptical of a school's efforts to regulate off-campus speech, for doing so may mean the student cannot engage in that kind of speech at all, end quote.
Courts say that schools can still intervene if it has to deal with a situation regarding bullying.
We have a follow-up on a continuing story that we have been following since the very beginning. If you want to qualify and want to opt out of the child tax credit, the portal is now up and running. The only thing that you can do on the portal at this point is opt out, view your eligibility, and see how much your monthly payment will be. Eventually, you will be able to update your mailing address, update bank information, add qualifying children, update marital status, and update income. Again, these options are not available yet, and they will be available later in 2021, the IRS has said. The first child tax credit payment will be July 15th, and if you qualify, you will either get it by direct deposit or paper check, depending on the banking information the IRS has.
If you do not qualify and somehow you get the child tax credit because the IRS is going off of some old information, you're probably going to want to give it back or you'll be paying it back. The opt-out portal is available at irs.gov/child tax credit 2021. You will have to create an account if you don't already have one.
You've probably heard a lot about an election reform test vote that happened Tuesday. With a vote of 50-50, the test vote proved they did not have enough votes. Let us explain what really happened. There were 0 Republicans that opted to support it, and the bill needed 60 votes to pass. But now that it has failed, that doesn't necessarily mean election reform legislation is dead forever. But first, you need to understand that the phrase test vote, journalists and politicians really mean when they say that is a procedural vote.
In Tuesday's case, the procedural vote was deciding whether or not to open the discussions over the For the People's Act. This is not a vote on the merits of the bill. It was just a vote to say, yeah, we are ready to talk about it. A procedural vote is usually a good indicator to find out where lawmakers stand on the issue at hand. So who is really being tested here? Well, as we knew, it wasn't Republicans because they all said no on this bill. The Democrats are testing their own caucus, plus the 2 independents, to see if they are all on the same page. The wild card in all of this was Senator Joe Manchin. He said that he doesn't support S1 and instead proposed his own compromise of election reform. For the record, he did vote with his fellow Democrats, and Senate Minority Mitch McConnell said that all the Republicans are a no on Manchin's bill as well.
We are going to get another congressional investigation into what really happened on the January 6th attack at the Capitol. Yeah, even though the legislation to create the 9/11 bipartisan commission failed last month, the House Speaker Nancy Pelosi announced she is creating a House Select Committee to fully investigate what happened on January 6th and the root causes of it. Select committees are formed for a specific purpose outside of the normal committee assignments that lawmakers get. You may remember a few years ago when Republicans created a select committee to look into what happened in Benghazi. And you probably saw the endless hearings and interrogations on TV, and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton in the hot seat testifying for hours. Well, this is probably going to be the same thing, but instead of Republicans in charge, as they were the last time, Democrats will be in charge. And the details of who will sit on this committee and duties and powers of the committee and who will be called to testify, we will be learning more in the days, weeks, and months to come.
Moving away from Congress a little bit, homicides and other violent crimes have been spiking for both big and small cities across 2020, and the threat has continued into 2021. To address it, on Wednesday, President Biden made a 5-point prevention plan that includes stemming the flow of guns used to commit violence by holding rogue firearms dealers accountable for violating federal background check laws and illegal sales through new ATF crackdowns. Supporting local law enforcement with federal tools and resources, investigating in evidence-based community violence prevention, expanding summer programming employment opportunities and other services and support for teenagers and young adults, and helping formerly incarcerated people successfully re-enter their communities. Yes, you did hear that correctly. The president wants to reallocate some money from the American Rescue Plan to add to the local police and local social services budget. This will allow more police officers to be hired and also social workers along with that. At the same time, he's calling on Congress to pass gun control laws and reiterated the gun control executive order that he had signed previously. The numbers don't lie. The Major Cities Chiefs Association says that 33% of the cities in the association saw an increase in homicides, and 63 of 66 of the largest police jurisdictions saw an increase in at least one category of crime, including rape, robbery, and aggravated assault. The FBI said that overall crime was actually down in 2020, but the homicide rate went up 25%. What is causing this? Law enforcement and criminal justice experts blame several things. Some of these include more guns on the streets, deep mistrust between police and the communities they serve, poverty, and the mental and financial stresses due to the pandemic.
Getting into rapid news now, Warren Buffett has resigned from the Bill and Gates Foundation.
Sales of Carl Nassib's jersey are skyrocketing after he became the first openly gay active player in the NFL.
Nick, what do you got for some good news this Friday morning?
All right, so this is a pretty cool story, honestly. There was a college student who was coming to the end of her time in college, and because of the pandemic, she didn't have any classes on campus during her last year. And that meant that she had a ton of money left over on her meal plan. About $600 to be precise. And she decided at first, her original plan, because she has a bit of a following on TikTok, was to see how fast she could spend the money. Well, she went to go buy a bunch of snacks and stuff like that and realized that she bought too much, and it kind of gave her an idea. So instead of just spending all of that money for herself, she started making care packages and actually began delivering these little homemade packages of hers to homeless people around St. Louis. And within her first 2 days of doing this, she delivered 40 packages. And within 6 days, she had delivered about anywhere between 80 to 100. And because of her TikTok following, she had kind of been documenting what she was doing and all that. So her followers started to donate money of their own. And so she used that money to make even more packages, and she's still doing this. And she even went out of her way, and her followers went out of their way to donate money for this one homeless man in particular who had started to gain a following on her on the donator's TikTok account as well. And a bunch of the fans donated money to help get him a phone, to get him food and all that. So, the phone so that he could find a job and actually get back on his feet. And so she's continuing to deliver these packages. She's she's continuing to do all she can for the different homeless people around the city.
You gotta give credit to social media. Sometimes social media can really come into such the positive of things. Started out just was gonna spend it on herself, and then started donating it, and then her followers started donating their own personal money.
Yeah, it's really cool to see that many people come together like that. It's definitely not what you see a majority of the time, and honestly, it's just really cool, and especially for a cause like that.
Yeah, and it was something that started that was a complete accident.
Yeah, and that's one of the best parts because she very easily could have just decided, hey, I'll just eat these snacks over a long period of time or whatever. She could have just kept them and ate them herself over, however long she chose to. But, that idea just kind of popped into her head and she went with it, which was really cool to see.
Yeah, yeah.
And the story, the part about the story where they actually donated enough money to get the one man a phone so that he could try to find a job and get back up on his feet by looking for employment like that, that's special. Like that's heartwarming in a different kind of way, even compared to everything else that they had been doing.
Right, yeah, I agree with you. That is the end of this Friday morning news episode. Make sure you follow us on Blind Boys Politics on Twitter for the latest 24 hours breaking news, so you are always in the know. Follow us on our personal accounts to see what we were up to. Check out our Medium articles. We are always writing about things that are not discussed here on the podcast. Until Monday morning, have a great weekend, everyone.
Bye, guys.